Buenos dias. Hey, everybody. Whew, such a good new morning. Happy Friday. All right. I am not entirely sure what I want to work on. I've got a couple different options. Okay, there's the creature that I worked on last week that I had started in ZBrush Core Mini. And then there is, let me see, characters for fun. No, it's not in characters for fun. Where is he at? He is in here. So let me see. I've got that. I've got the creature that I started last week. I've got the. Let's go creature. Okay. So yeah, we've got this guy that we started last week. I've also got the speeder bike. Okay, which we started, a little while back when I was working on the piece for the ArtStation Challenge, the Grand Space Opera ArtStation Challenge. So we've got this. That's an option for something to go through and kind of work on and build. And then I've got environment stuff too. I've got the stairs that we can work on if we wanted to. Let's go to Kai. Let's go up one more. Environments. Apartment scene 3. So what do you think? Oh well, more fun. Yeah, it should be fun either way. All right, sorry about that, Pac-Man. Buenas tardes, Alex. I'm doing pretty well. So I've got some more set dressing to do here. I mean, obviously I've got some of the other rooms turned off right now. Let me see. Dragon kitchen. The rest of the walls and everything kind of turned on here. You can see there's our apartment building here. I've gotten a lot of progress done on the kitchen, and then I've gotten a bunch of things kind of hung up and set up here inside of Kai's bedroom. But there's still a lot of set dressing to do. Like I've got a skateboard that I wanted to add in here. I've got a helmet that I wanted to add in here. I wanted to go through and kind of figure out building out some toys to be able to put in here. Where did the posters go? The posters must have gotten turned off. Yeah, and then I wanted to start, kind of going through fleshing this out. The bedroom is probably the first thing that I wanted to really work on and get that done. And then I wanted to move on probably to the kitchen or the living room. The kitchen's going to be interesting because, it's not going to be something that's visible from the storytelling perspective from what I wanted to be able to do. And the living room would be. But it's something that I was more interested in. Yes, I did make the scene pretty much entirely inside of ZBrush. Some things were made inside of Maya. In fact, some of these models are a little bit old, but yeah, I did. So like for instance, the sofa and the armchair here, they were originally built inside of Maya, but they weren't like the topology was super old and they weren't very good, and so I had to go through and rebuild them. And I just went ahead and I redid them here inside of ZBrush. The tiles for the kitchen counter. Those were all done here inside of ZBrush. It was a really fun process. It was really great. The curtains were done using dynamics here inside of ZBrush, and everything. Oh, and then the new it's not really an armoire. It's like a cabinet. This cabinet was done in ZBrush. This dragon here was done inside of ZBrush. That was really fun. That was an entire stream here on the, oops, getting too far behind something here. Okay, there we go. That's better. But yeah, so that was fun. That was an entire stream by itself. I still need to go through and kind of make a new television set, because that television set isn't quite what I feel like I want for this thing. I need to build some picture frames to go up along the wall. I want this wall to be pretty filled with picture frames. And then I also want to have a couple, 3 or 4 up along here or something like that. I don't know. Streaming so early. It's 8 o'clock. Some people have already had a full day by this time. But yeah, so this is something I'm interested in working on. To be able to answer the question I saw earlier, the basket back here, I mean, it's not completely finished. You'll see there are some spots down here. Let's go ahead and jump over to the basket. You'll see there are some parts down here that it's just not quite linking up the way that it ought to, which is kind of a shame. So I'd have to fix that. Essentially what I did is I used the micro poly. Really, it's after 6 o'clock in Finland. That makes sense. Wow. Yeah. It's always kind of funny thinking about the transatlantic side over there, Europe and everywhere, how it's like you guys are so far ahead in the day. But yeah, that micro poly, it's a super time saver for creating things like this. And I used one that was already part of the, what's it called? Part of the micro poly library. I think I'll probably go through and end up making my own to be able to fill this. This feels a little bit too, I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right to me. I'd rather have something more like, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Let's grab ArtStation. Wow, I got a bunch of action on ArtStation. I gotta go and check it out. I haven't been on for a while. Okay, let me see. I'm coming over here. Do I even have her up here? Let's see. We'll check it out. I think I do have her in here somewhere. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Yeah, there she is. Yeah. So I've got this character that I went through and built. This basket. Yeah, that's as good of a picture as we're gonna get of it. This basket is. I like this weave a lot better. So maybe I'll just go through and try to. I'll replace that weave right now. Actually, let's do it. Where do I have that the geometry for the basket? I didn't get rid of it, did I? Did I get rid of it? Steven, you fool! I did. I totally got rid of it. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. Hey Prashan, how are you doing? Micropoly, I'll show you micropoly. Micropoly is super helpful. It's this way to be able to take regular polygons from a mesh and turn it into a mesh. And you know what? I think I'll actually be using what's it called? Nano mesh to be able to do the actual weave on this basket. Oops, that's a little bit out of. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll turn on Lazy Mouse. But yeah, it's a great way to be able to create geometry quickly based off of simple topology. So like all of this came from a very simple grid pattern, and then it went through and replaced the simple grid pattern with the The boar looks awesome. Oh, the hog bot. Did you see my hog bot? Is that what you're talking about? Edit mode. Yeah, it's a fun model. I really enjoy that model a lot. In fact, I need to go through and start working on engineering that guy for some 3D print action. Okay, so essentially I'm just going to go ahead and build this out. Here, let's go ahead and start adding in these bottom edges. Why isn't it? See, it's connected there. Oh, it's not creating an actual point there yet. That one's kind of raised up a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so there's our first face. It looks like they didn't quite connect down here, so we're gonna fiddle around, get this to... I didn't want to really create that poly. It's okay. We'll just kind of connect it. We'll make it really simple. Have this come over, have this come up. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so now we've got that. Sorry, I know this is like the least fascinating thing anybody could be doing. I'm just trying to build a mesh because somehow the mesh that I had originally, somehow I lost it. No idea how that happened, but that's probably good enough for right now. I'll worry about building like a ring around the middle here after I get the basket kind of filled in. So let's do this. Draw size all the way down to 1. We'll say split, unmasked. We'll come down here and then we will say, does it have an extra? It has an extra piece. Okay, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this. Control Shift A, geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Display properties double so we can see it from both angles. And let's go ahead and let's grab this and we will say bridge. Ooh, that's interesting. Ah, I see. Okay, so these faces, they're facing different directions, and so they need to be facing the same direction in order for this the bridging to take place. And you can't really see if something's if the normals are flipped on your mesh unless you have single-sided geometry. Kind of a pain, but whatever, it happens. Okay, so we've got this now. Okay, I'm going to say Control W just to make sure that's all the same poly group. We'll go ahead and we'll say let's get rid of our creasing. And then what I want to do is I want to have this middle band unselected so that I can go ahead and start to match it up. Let's get our move infinite depth, and we'll just kind of like take this and boom like that. Just for now. Might have to make some adjustments, but that's okay. Okay, let's go to our regular move now. We'll have it kind of bulge out over here. In fact, let's take this out so that it's out to the outside of that basket area. We're going to have to add some some resolution to this. This isn't nearly as nearly as high poly as I would need it to be. Now, one of the things that you can do, I mean, it doesn't have to be super smooth. It can, in fact, you want to make sure that it's not as smooth as it can be. Cyborg. I like that, Chris. I like that a lot. That is really good. Okay, I'm gonna say crease. Let's say crease to be able to get the creases around the open edges and around these corners. Okay, you see I have my tolerance set up to 45, which is enough. Okay, we want to make sure that it's less than 90, and sometimes you have to kind of play around with that. Sometimes you need to play around with it to get it to be about, you know, around 70, around 60, somewhere in that neighborhood. But my gift to you for all the wonderful. In fact, yeah, I need to write that down, and then I'll write down that you that you said it, so that way I can remember. Okay, Cyborg equals Hogbot. That's brilliant, actually. Yeah, and then. It's so funny. I need to write down that you said that, Chris. That was good. That was brilliant. Did you come up with that just now, or is that something that you've been thinking like yeah, cyborg? All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and say let's add some. Oh, you know what? It didn't even crease that border edge. So let's go ahead. Let's change this tolerance all the way up to 180. We'll say crease, and that'll crease that border edge. Come on, why isn't it creasing that border edge? Let's say crease edge loop partial. Wow, it's not creasing that. Oh, I guess my crease level is set to 1. Let's set this up to 2. Okay, so that's better. That's holding it. Let's go ahead and we'll say the dynamic, we'll say apply, and then we just got to go ahead and take this. I'm going to take it at this level, and I'm going to just adjust these points so that they fit the shape. And then I'll have to adjust it a little bit again once I move up in the subdivision levels, but not as much as if I were to have had it I lost my train of thought. I lost the specific word I was going to say, so it's no longer worth finishing the sentence. So happy. I just got, I went out yesterday and got myself a Herman Miller chair. I'd been wanting one for years, ever since I first had one at Warner Brothers. It's best chair I've ever had in my life. Such a good, such a nice chair. I feel like it helps so that you don't get sweaty and smelly as bad. It helps so that you're comfortable when you're sitting, all sorts of things. Such a nice chair. And so I went ahead and got myself one. There is somebody who was, is it comfortable? Is it comfortable compared to the average office chair? Yes, it is the best chair. It's the kind of chair that I can sit in all day and not feel as bad. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Yeah, I've had this. It's the same chair that I've had at Warner Brothers. I've had this chair at DreamWorks. I've had it at Disney. And I'm trying to remember, it might be the same chair that we have over at Noman too. Yeah, it's super good chair. It's not as like, you know, fun looking as like some of the gaming chairs that are out there, but I mean, this chair's got so much awesome to it. It supports me in all the best ways, and it's like a good friend. It's giving you a good hug from behind while you're working, you know? It's my finger is itchy. Okay, so here's what we have right now. I'm going to say delete lower. Okay, this could possibly work. I'm going to actually go ahead and subdivide it one more time. Yeah, let's go ahead, instead of doing that, let's go back down to crease. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna mess up my corners a little bit here again anyway. Not a big deal, we'll just go ahead and fix those. I've been reading the Harry Potter books with my kids lately, and then after we finish each book, we've been going through and having like a movie night so they can see the movie. They've been loving that, but they got super, yeah, they don't like the Dementors, but they're okay with it because they're like, oh, I know they're not real. It's great. Okay, I think this will work well for me. Okay, so what I want to do, it's an industry standard, like Blender. Oh, Prashan. I guess it depends on where you live, but yeah. Industry standard poppycock. All right. So here we go. This is the kind of thing that we've got. Okay, so now micro poly is really nice from the standpoint that here's what you can do with it. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say dynamic subdivision is going to turn on dynamic, but I'm going to turn off the smooth subdivision option on here. And what we can do is we can say turn on micro poly, and then we select an option here. So we can say, you know, we've got this cross knit thing, and it goes through and it actually adds in geometry for those faces. So it's a really quick way to be able to get lots and lots of detail without having to do a ton of extra work. We've also got, let me see, we got this knit right here. You'll see like right here, this is a spot where everything's kind of misaligned. So sometimes we can fix that by hitting align. Yeah, you see it's not aligning everything. So that's one of the tricky things about having to use ZModeler when you're going through and kind of building something out and then trying to use micro poly. It doesn't always work out. Now the alternative and the thing that I'm planning on using. See, this one looks like it's feeling pretty good, but it's not quite the same look and feel that I want for the actual basket. I have no idea what that's trying to do. But yeah, so it's one of those things where you kind of got to just pick through and kind of figure out, you know, do I like that? Does that work? Let's say align. Yeah, that certainly doesn't work for me, but whatever. So yeah, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say none, turn that off. Okay, the thing that I want to do is I want to make this nanomesh, which means I'm going to have to load in a brush, which is fine. We'll say load brush. Oh, you know what? In fact, let's come up here. I'm going to say refresh this, just so that if I want to open up something else again, I can just come over here and kind of open it up from here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to say ZModeler. Oh, sorry, BZM. Okay, so we're going to say polygroup. We're going to say flat island. Actually, instead of doing flat island, let's do it like this, because I don't know if for sure I'll get the polygroups the way that I want them. So I need to make sure that I do this differently. So let's go ahead and we'll say group normals, just to make sure we have each side a different phase, which is exactly the way we want it. There we go. Okay, so here's what we want to do. I'm going to say polygroup, flat polygroup island, and then we're going to say checker. Okay, we're going to say overwrite. We're going to say, yeah, full cut. Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and we'll tap that, and you'll see the thing I want to check for. There we go. That way it's easier to see. I want to make sure that these polygons are alternating. So we got this purple and then we got this blue. Okay, that's what we want on each of these sides. Okay, purple and blue, perfect. Purple and blue, awesome. The reason we want that is that now when we've got an uneven number of sides. Oh, what the dirty. How did that even happen? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, I've got an idea. Since there is an even number of, I don't know what that was. That was really, really weird. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say polygroup, polyloop, which should work really, really well for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say overwrite. Oh, I didn't want checkered. Let's change this from checker to one group ID. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and we will checker this because like doing every other face. Okay, so now by doing it like this, I mean the bottom side's getting kind of super messed up. I'm not gonna worry too much about that quite yet. We'll worry about that once it's once we're done with the sides. Oh no. You see, that's working. That's true. Okay, I've got an idea. Okay, we're going to add in an extra edge loop in here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say single edge loop. We'll say just add one in right there. And then we will actually let's do it like this. Just kind of lengthen it out just a little bit. And then we'll just kind of scoot things out here. Here, let's actually just use slide edge loop partial. Something kind of like that. Caramba! All right, this is working out. Because what I can do now is I can go ahead and I can control the loops a little bit better. Now that there's a spare one here, this I'll be able to make sure that everything is alternating. Okay, so we've got this going, and then this is doubled up, which means that this over here is working, but then this is doubled up. Okay, so sweet. I think. Okay, let's get this working properly, shall we? Okay, so now we've got these sides. Let's go ahead and say Control W. And you know what? Heck, why not? We'll go ahead and we'll say Control W on that bottom piece too. And we'll just hide it for now. We don't need it quite yet. But this will help us so that we can just think. In fact, let's go ahead and we'll say polygroup island. We'll just go ahead and make this and this that whole polygroup. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll say grab this and then hold shift while we're touching it, so that way we're selecting that poly group. And now we can say poly loop, and we'll boom, boom, boom. And theoretically, we should match up nicely. No! Oh, that's why I did it opposite. But I don't want it to go over to the other side. Urgh. Okay. We're gonna mask this. It's like, duh. Simple solution. It's like, I'm not working in ZBrush Core Mini right now. I am working in ZBrush. I'm in this full ZBrush, you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we got that purple, and blue. Awesome. So now we can come over here, and then we do every other one, but it's the inside ones. Yeah, that corner, my mind was just like not quite working. It's like, I gotta get this going right. Just picked up Rowling's new book. What's are you talking about? Or I guess what is Rowling's new book? Shake your fist at the sky and shout, "Gabery!" When just before I'd actually met Paul, oops, no, I didn't want that. Just before I'd actually met Paul, Joseph Drust was joking around with me, and he was saying, "Yeah, Paul really likes it when you call him Gabori," and I was like, "No, he doesn't." But you know, when you get along with somebody like super well, and you know, you've known them for a long time, like Joseph has, you can get away with all sorts of things. All right, let's kind of bring this back. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of, yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, cool. Cool, so now we've got our checker pattern going around vertically around here. Now what we need to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, so polygroup, polyloop, but instead of being overwrite, I'm going to say additive. Okay, so now what's going to happen is I'm going to hit boom like that, and like that, and like that, just every other one. Okay, so I mean, you'll see like a very obvious color change. In fact, it's not very obvious with the pink, so I'm just kind of concerned that I'm not going to. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I just need to make sure that I get every other one. And what this is going to allow me to have is a good little variety on my pieces. So when I go ahead, let's grab our. In fact, let's save this first. Speeder bike. Let's go back into. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't have that pulled up yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pull this up. Say ZBrush. Come on. Let's say pin to quick access. Where's the pin to quick access? Okay. Let's come in here since we're working on this. Okay. Now the thing that I need to go ahead and get is I need to go ahead and get my nano brush. Okay. And I'm not entirely sure where I have it, so it might take a little bit of searching, but if I do have it where I think I have it, rope, nope. Let's go into the must-haves, let's go into the brushes, let's go, there should be a weave, hair waves, hair brush, hair rope, stitch alpha, there's no weave. I might have to go ahead and look for it real quick on, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab it real quick on Dropbox, because it might be in my folder for my, what's it? Thanks, Emmanuel. Welcome to the stream. Wait, did you say, Chris, did you say what book that is? Oh, the Ichabod. Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually gotten into those new books yet. I need to. Oh, you know what? Let's try this. ZBrush, not characters for fun. Portfolio pieces, Sphinx. I thought for sure I had it in here. Let's see. I'm gonna come in here. Dismiss. Smartest weave nam no. Okay, so it is in the wrong folder. Let's just go ahead and get this, and we'll copy it into the right folder. And then we'll go ahead and load it. This is a great little brush, and I'll probably add it to my if I can, here we go. I'll add it to my Patreon page this month. It's a great brush. Let's see. We'll say copy, and then we'll copy it over to the must-haves into brushes. All right, and then it should pop up in our must-haves brushes here pretty soon. Let's go ahead, library, just to be able to get back in there. Must-haves, brushes, Weave Nano. There we go. Okay, now this piece has 4 different pieces, and they're not the lowest polygon pieces, so I don't, you know, it's kind of a tricky piece to work with. In fact, I've been meaning to go through and actually make a lighter version so that it's not as heavy. But essentially, insert nano mesh, polygroup all. Okay, and then I'm going to say, let's go ahead and say brush. I'm going to say save as, just so that way I've got the most recent brush. I guess I had to make some adjustments there. Sweet. Okay, must have sweet. Okay, replace that. Yes. Yes. I'm going to turn off sound. I don't need sound. Okay, so the way this works is that you'll come in here and you just click and drag this out. Oh, look at that. It's not even dragging it out in the right way. Okay, let me see. Let's check this out, see if we can get this to unify at all, or if we have to say align to normal. Okay, there we go. Now it's working for me. Okay, now the thing that we need to do is I need this to be kind of flipped around. So I am going to say, in fact, I'm curious. Yep. Things inside out. It's like, doggone it. Okay, so now we've got this, and we do need to align to normal. So let's see, align to normal. We're going to have this fit. So we're going to change that to fit. In fact, we can even say fill if we wanted to. And then we change the size. We have to change the size to 1. Not numlock, please. Size needs to be 1. Okay, so that way you see it's filling up that whole square. Okay, really, really cool. Super neat little trick. So now what you do is you go ahead and you grab a different version, and you just go ahead and you brush it on here like this. Okay. Oh my goodness, the depth is all screwed up. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's check this. It looks like I need to go ahead and modify this brush so that it's working for me. Let's go ahead and dock that over to the side. Make sure that our embed is set to 0 on all these pieces. Resave that brush. Delete that one. Replace it. Got to make sure that if I'm going to offer up a brush, that it's going to be a good brush. A good Pete. Okay, same thing. Take the size, change that to 1. Okay. Technically you don't have to go through hitting fit or anything like that. You know, fit and fill can make for a really interesting look. Like if we look over at the Sphinx here, these pieces actually were not. I didn't hit fill, so we'll just keep it in proportionate, and we'll just have to adjust the size. So we'll come back over to this other nanomesh sequence, and we'll hit that to proportionate as well. Okay, you'll see we're getting that kind of overlapping action going on in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and change to a new piece here. Drag that on. In fact, we could even kind of angle it just a little bit, just to add a little bit of variation or something. Okay. Yeah, and then over here we need to add in. Let's see, I don't think we've added this one yet. Okay, something like that. Now there will be some tweaking that we need to do. Let me see. Let's take. In fact, it might be a matter of taking the pieces and kind of. In fact, let's try this. I've got an idea. I do something like this. We can play with the height a little bit. Say like 1.5. Oh, not 105. Sorry, 1.5. And then we'll go ahead. We'll go to the next index. We'll say height. We'll say 1.5. Because what that's going to do is it's going to accentuate and exaggerate the height of the pieces. So it should hopefully overlap a little bit better. Let's see. Next index. Go to height. 1.5. In fact, we might even end up going in and just saying fit or something like that, or fill, just because I feel like that might get me a little bit better of a. And I might have to play with the size too. The size right now, they feel like they're too big. They're crowding each other too much. So we'll play with that here in a second too. Yeah, they're crowding each other too much. So let's take the size down to like 0.75 or something like that. Just to test it out. That one's good. 0.75. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Why are those like so twisted? That's so weird. So I'll have to fix some things here on the border edges, I guess. What the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? Oh, aligned to normal. Duh. Okay. So that means we're going to have to go through and kind of fix all these things. Align to normal. Align to normal. Okay, now we're better. I was like, we're gonna have to go through and fix some things. It's like, no, we shouldn't have to fix things. Okay. Now the other thing I want to do, I want to try playing around with this height a little bit more. I don't know, maybe we'll try taking it back. Nah. One of the nice things too is that because this is nano mesh, oh shoot. Because this is nano mesh, this is tied to the mesh. It's not tied to itself, you know. So as I make adjustments to the mesh, it makes adjustments to the nano mesh so that it fits. Really, really powerful, really simple thing, but it's so helpful. I'm gonna make my brush a little bit bigger with the turning off the dynamic. I love that trick, by the way, guys. So go through, grab that. You know what? What if I were to take that size up to 0.9? 0.85. I think that might work better. That might work better. Let's try it. Because like I feel like it's not quite filling in enough, and so let's just try some of these different, like just a slightly different size, you know. That's quite a bit better. That's a lot more what I feel like I'm wanting to get. It feels more full. I don't have to make as much adjustments to the base piece. And then if we turn on our mesh here, let's go ahead and take this, we'll turn it off. Okay, turn off transparent. And we'll just kind of play around with this. Yeah, nano mesh is super powerful. So the thing that I like about nano mesh is that it's like micro poly, but it's more controlled. Okay, like you're able to see, I was able to control like which direction the pieces were facing. I was able to control things like things like I was able to get several different variations, and in a way that I controlled it, you know. And yeah, so nano mesh is usually my preferred method for something like this. I have used micro poly, but I use it mostly when I don't need to worry about getting something very specific, something controlled. This is nice. This is a really nice, and it's nice to have the options too. Okay, down here on the bottom, now we want to go ahead and get some pieces down here on the bottom so that it feels complete, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and say, skipping to the next restart, we're going to say polygroup island, and then we'll say checker. Okay, this time it's not as important. So what I'm going to do, oh, you know what? I'm going to do poly loop instead. And we're going to say, okay, so we don't want to do it like that. Let's go ahead and, am I able to turn off the nano mesh? Perfect. Shrink, and then, there we go. Okay, whatever. We'll just go ahead and we'll say checker. Polygroup island checker. We'll just go ahead and hit that. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just start adding in our pieces. Let's say, oh shoot, insert nano mesh. Okay, let's go ahead and say shoot. Oh, that's right, because this isn't a nano mesh. This is the other brush. My mind is obviously doing very well this morning. Okay, insert nano mesh. And theoretically, why am I getting... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's doing the thing again, and I could not be more unimpressed. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. In fact, we need to make sure that that's actually not... Here's what we're going to do. Okay. So we're going to say, take our inventory, and we're going to say 1 to mesh. Okay, that's going to take that whatever piece that we had, whatever index we had, it's going to make it into a mesh. We're going to say 1 to mesh, 1 to mesh. So that way, all these pieces, they're all mesh. Oh, I guess we got one more. So we'll say 1 to mesh. Okay, so now we have all these pieces. They're all part of the actual geometry. So what I want to do, I'm going to say subtool. We're going to say split hidden. Okay, so now we've got this basket weave, and it's all its own separate mesh. It's actual geometry, and you can see it's under 1 million polys for all that. So that's pretty great. You know, that'll be great. Yes, nanomesh will come through, but you have to do that process of 1 to mesh sort of to be able to make that work. That 1 to mesh in inventory. Yeah, that I want to go through and and actually use it, because that would be fun. Oh, I want to be ZModeler. I want to polygroup, polyloop, one group ID, additive. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so just like what we had on the other sides, we're just going through and kind of adding the same sort of idea here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn off the actual bike, so that way I can see what's going on down here. What's this? Oh, cargo block-in. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay. Here we go. Wish me luck. Okay, so right here we want to let's grab our weave brush. We're going to say nano mesh. We're going to say alignment, aligned to normal. Wow, that got spunky. Huh. Let me see how to fix this now, because this is weird. Because you can see, like, our point order is all kind of messed up. It's kind of a pain. Oh, there we go. That one worked. So near edge. Okay. Sure. Well, so the Z rotation, I mean, that's not something that's super important, because it's going through and it's aligning things based on kind of what it is that I tell it. I can probably modify it based on what I want. But yeah, not a huge deal. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's say 0.85, like what we did for the other ones. The thing that I want to be careful of, I will have to kind of modify some things around the edges over here, but not a huge deal. I mean, we'll go through and we'll worry about that as we get to it. Let me see. I do think I'll go ahead and kind of push the height a little bit. Maybe not quite that much though. 1.5. So we're getting somewhere there. All right, let's go ahead and let's add in another index. Let's go ahead and grab the 3. Go ahead and we'll pull this on. Align near edge, like what we did with the other one. 0.85 for the size. And then for the height, we'll say 1.25. Okay. Is that what I did for the size on that? 1.85 is 0.85, 1. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just feels a little bit different in size to me. I'm gonna put this one up to 1 actually, just because artistically it feels like it matches the size a little bit better to me. Align near edge. I'm glad that there are different ways to be able to align there, because that makes things so much so much easier. 0.85 for that size, so that it somewhat matches. Actually, it looks like it needs to be a little bit bigger. That'll work, I think. Okay, and then I think I'll just leave the height the way it is on this piece. Okay, for this last one, let's go ahead and grab the 1. This needs to go horizontally. And that looks like that, like size-wise, that's probably going to be about right. Let's go ahead and push that height just a little bit. And maybe it needs to be pushed in size a little bit. Okay, now one of the things that I need to do, which one is that? Let me see. There's one of them that feels like it's way too, might be this one. Yep, it's that one. Way too high. Oh, and that one feels like, yep, something happened. I have no idea what happened here. Good grief. But it looks like it's just that one, maybe just a few pieces through here. We'll worry about that. We'll go ahead and we will let's say one to mesh. Okay, so that way we've got all those different pieces there. And then we'll say, let's grab this, Control Shift A, subtool, split hidden. Okay. Now let's try to come down here and kind of troubleshoot this. This piece right here needs to be rotated. Okay, so we're just going to take this and rotate it. This piece right here needs to be rotated. This piece needs to be rotated. And granted, this stuff isn't ever going to be seen, so it doesn't necessarily matter a whole lot. I really only need to worry about the edges. And I feel like I'm being a little too overly careful, I guess. Oops. But, oh well. I mean, this is one of those things where, like, if I were doing something for production, I need to make sure that this thing is set and ready. Oops. simple thing. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, it's kind of a long process, but once it's done, it almost sings. Okay, trying to see if there are any other spots. It looks like we're good. Okay, I think we got it. So now, I mean, there are things like this, like on the outside, we're going to want to try to tweak and catch. Places where the weave is kind of coming through itself. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to this piece. Okay, this is the sort of stuff that we're going to want to kind of tweak. Okay, places where the weave should be going and diving into itself. Okay, so we're going to tweak those edges more than anything. But yeah. Don't you miss sometimes in ZBrush a local pivot when rotating a few subtools at a time? Yeah, it's one of those things. It's always going to be based off of wherever the last like whatever subtool you have selected, wherever its pivot point is located. Yeah. It's an important thing to watch out for. Let's actually kind of push this up, and then we'll push it down. So this section of work is going to take a little bit of time, but it's one of those things that's going to help make the basket as a whole look really, really nice. Make it feel really complete. And then this is the kind of asset that I would want to texture with with what's that called, with PTEX. For those of you who aren't familiar with PTEX, PTEX is a technology that Disney developed back on Meet the Robinsons, as a way to be able to do per vertex color in films. And I don't know that they do it for everything. It's possible, but you know, it's one of those things that that they developed so that they didn't have to worry about UVs as much. You know, they could just do all the creative stuff without having to worry about the technical side of it. Which is fun. Gonna pull that down and in a little bit, pull this down and in a little bit. Really fun stuff. It's the goldfish guy. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I've got the got parts of the print up here somewhere. Got a sticker right here. How you doing, Brutus? Same thing. Let's kind of pull this up and kind of pull this in some. Man, I could really go for like a milkshake. I'm gonna have to go for a milkshake sometime. I'm always in the mood for like the stuff that's not as good for my body. Although I really love like one of the things my wife gets from time to time are sugar snap peas. She really likes getting those, and then we'll get hummus too. And so being able to get like the greens with the hummus, that's really really good. Oh shoot. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take these pieces. I'm going to merge them down because I need to be able to see both parts. Just kind of taking these pieces and kind of hiding them inside of each other makes it a little bit nicer. Wasn't able to finish your part 2 yet. Hey man, it isn't faster to do that kind of stuff with surface noise instead of nano. Yes, but it's not as organic. That's one of the hard things about surface noise. The nice thing about doing it this way is that I can go through and I can super control it. The hard thing is that it does take more time. So you're right that it's faster. It's just not necessarily the effect that I wanted. This side, I should have paid more attention to this side when I had it in nano mesh form, because this side has like all the pieces kind of pulled apart a little bit. Should have tried to make sure that they were. In fact, one of the things that I can do is I can take this, I can just come down to deformation and say inflate. And that'll make it so that it intersects a little bit better. Like that, something. Let's kind of make this wide a little bit. I'm really just kind of like trying to touch it up and make sure that it's doing what I want it to do. No, but you're right. So surface noise is a great way to be able to add details to, and I'll use that quite a bit if I'm doing something like a fabric. But if I'm doing something like this, where I want it to be full geometry and things like that, yeah, I usually try to make it so that it's nano mesh. And this route helps me so that I can get the results that I want. Because surface noise is great from the standpoint that if you wanted to use it for textures or for displacements or things like that, it really, oh come on, que burro. Yeah, if I wanted it for texture of some sort, displacement, normal maps, then surface noise works really great. But yeah, anytime you want to use actual geometry, it makes it a lot heavier. And right now, this is only, this is still underneath a million polygons, and it has topology, and this is something that I could go through and get UVs for and do textures and everything. If I were to try to do this with surface noise, I mean, I could get the look adding surface noise to a regular piece of geometry, but the problem I would run into is that I would have a piece of geometry that has a tremendous amount more geometry, like millions of polygons. But yeah, What was the method you used last time for the basket? Are you talking about the what's it called, the poly mesh, the micro poly? This is what I'd used. I even used this at the beginning of the stream to be able to show one way to be able to do this. This is just a little bit more controllable. I used nano mesh to be able to do this version. The other one was micro poly, and micro poly is really, really powerful. It's really great. The hard thing with micro poly is that it's not as controllable. Nano mesh gives you lots of different options for, nice control. Let's go ahead and take this and kind of pull it out, push it in, pull it out, twirl it around, do the hokey pokey, and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. When I was in high school, I worked a little bit with some special needs kids, and they loved doing the hokey pokey. It was kind of like a get your energy out sort of activity, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun. In fact, come to think of it, I don't think I've ever even actually done the hokey pokey with my own children. Pfft, I'm a failure as a father. Just kidding. I'm not a failure as a father because I've read to them. I read to them on a regular basis. So we're good. We're cool. I know we're cool. Yeah, I probably don't have to fix this like perfectly all the way around, but certainly in places where I feel like we could kind of tighten up some of these things over here. The thing that I want to make sure of is that that it looks good, that it looks right. So I mean, there are places like this where it's like the stuff is just kind of poking out every which way, and it's just, I don't know. It'll drive me nuts if I don't fix it. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where you kind of gotta. Reading is clutch. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's funny. You must be from the East Coast or something, because like, so one of my buddies, his name is Mikkel. He is like, that's a word that he super uses. I don't know. Maybe it's just a new slang word or something that I've just never heard before. I heard Mikkel say it, but yeah. Besides you, Chris, yeah, Mikkel is the only other person I've ever heard say it. He's from DC. What about you guys? What are your favorite books? Working on complex shapes and with such patience and details. Meanwhile, I'm freaking out over bakes and blender not working the way I want. Sorry. Oh, so Clutch is kind of a gaming community thing. That's interesting. Yeah, he is big into gaming, so maybe that's where it comes from then. Peaceful warrior. Love it. Today with Smartest, the peaceful warrior. Or the smiling warrior, or the what else could I go by? Make sure that these pieces are doing more what I want them to do. He slays with his stylus of fury, but he smiles about it. Oh, Peaceful Warrior. That means you're probably referring to a book, huh? Oh, that's funny. Sorry, side effects. I totally got carried away with that. I took that in the wrong direction. Oh, that's funny. You're probably like, what are you talking about? It's like, what is this? What is this moron saying? Like, is his head on straight? It's like, no, today my head is not on straight. By the way, these little nanomesh pieces that I'd made, I made them, like I essentially sculpted them out on just like a square piece and kind of bent them into the right. At first I thought I was tripping. That's really funny. Yeah, books. Yeah. I'm obviously a very good conversationalist. Yeah. Sorry. I essentially made a cube and then sculpted on it, and then I just ran what's it called? ZRemesher to make it so that it gets a nice low poly version, and it worked really well. I've used it, like I said, I'm using it right now. I've used it for this project here. I'm hoping to be able to go through and actually finish this project at some point. I really, really like ooh. Autocorrect is terrible. My wife found a place that is offering vaccines. It says that I'm Jose Rosales. Well, that's not a bad it's a pretty good compliment. Jose's a study, good guy, really nice, and he is roller go with the ZBrush. He's a smartist, not a conversationalist. Yeah, words are hard. Whatever. But yeah, she found a place that was offering vaccines. Finally found a place where she was able to schedule her appointment for her first dose of the vaccine, and instead of her text saying vaccines, it went through and autocorrected to vacaciones, which is Spanish for vacations. You know, it was just really funny. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of try to tweak some of these pieces here to make sure that they feel like they're overlapping, feel like they're connecting and making a basket. See, some of these pieces, like taking them and just kind of like pulling them out some, I think that'll add some good surface variation. Otherwise, things feel too regular, and it'll feel a little bit boring. So I like trying to take this and just kind of give it a little bit of a change, so that it changes up the texture, changes up the detail. Yeah, so with Restream, Restream is what we use to be able to stream to all the different platforms, to Facebook and to Twitch and to YouTube, and it usually gets changed before the stream starts. But lately, we've been having some issues where streams have been getting deleted somehow, which is kind of irritating. Um, and so Kyle at Pixologic has been trying to kind of combat that by trying something different. Um, One of the things that he's trying is just letting the stream start and then changing the stream info, things like the title. So yeah, the title will get changed later. So yeah, I won't be Jose Rosales for much longer. Although, like I said, nice guy, great artist. If you haven't seen his streams, you should try checking them out. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, he does a bunch of creatures. Let's go check them out just to make sure. Let's go Pixologic. We've got community, ZBrush Live, tutorial to be able to get to the ZBrush Live site, by the way. Es una chimba, mi socio. Esa no es una palabra que conozco. Qué guapo mi cara. Ay, voy. Let's see. Calendar presenters. Hagamos esto. Hey, look at all those fancy people right there. Okay, Jose Rosales. Got Oscar. Oscar's another good friend of mine. There we go. Yeah, 3D modeler at Real Effects. Yeah, Jose's a stud. He's really good. Yeah, lots of little cool creatures, sort of things going on there. That guy is really cool. I hadn't seen him either. He's pretty cool too. Yeah, I remember watching a few streams of him working on this guy right here, this little salamander guy. It's pretty cool. It looks like he's gone through and started doing topology for him. Cool. Yeah. That looks. Oh, he did a pass the sculpt with Oscar. Okay, cool. I'll have to watch that. I didn't know that they did that. Yeah, cause that's something that we had done. That my friend. I've done it with a few people. I've done it with Pablo Munoz. I've done it with Ana Carolina, and I've done it with Ashley Adams. Super fun. Hey Ian, how you doing, Sir Ian? Jose Steven Rosales Anderson. Lots of names. Since they're fact checking that word on Twitter and Facebook, it becomes alarming. Talking about conversationalist, or are you talking about what was the other word that we were talking about earlier? Oh, this is the racer. Yeah, this is the this will be the speeder bike. Yeah, I mean, I hid part of it. There we go. So yeah, there we go. That's our speeder bike so far. I've got to go through and redo the top. The top isn't nearly what it should be, but whatever. I'll have that on while we tweak away. Kind of push and pull, ebb and flow, try and li, yin and yang. The koi fish. I must be going. That part in Avatar. I remember the first time I watched it, like my whole body was like tensing up. It's like so much stress. It's like clutch. That was the word I was looking for. I'm from here in the United States. Currently, I'm in Los Angeles. I am now starting a new job as a concept sculptor for Netflix. So that'll be really exciting. Really excited to start on that. Been working towards something like that for a long time. So it's really exciting to be able to jump in and do something fun, something that I super enjoy. just trying to vary things up, just trying to get a better consistency on the weave. Let's go ahead and pull this out, pull that, push that in, push that in, push that in, pull that out, pull this out. Yeah, actually, so the other night we finished, since I'm jumping back to books for a second, because the kids were excited. We finished the third book, which is my favorite of the Harry Potter books, and then we watched the third movie, and it was awesome. It was funny. There are always like little scares that totally get my daughter, and she super jumps. The first time in Harry Potter, the second movie in Chamber of Secrets, there was this part where the basilisk is like, Harry can hear the voice kind of going through the pipes, and he's like, where is it coming from? And he looks down, and then he looks down, and all of a sudden Dobby's there on the bed. As soon as it comes down, hello, my daughter just jumps and her popcorn goes flying everywhere. Oh, thanks, Emmanuel. Yeah, I love Spanish. I actually learned Spanish in Chile. Yeah, it's a beautiful language. I feel like one, it's a lot easier than English. It's easier to speak. It's easier to, well, maybe not easier to speak. I feel like over the years I've lost some of my ability to pronounce things easily. So sometimes se me traba la lengua. Yeah, it's one of those things though. I love that the written language though is so much easier. French is super hard, English is super hard, and the thing that's hard about English is that it's not necessarily pronounced the way that it's spelled. In Spanish, you can book on it being pronounced exactly how it's spelled, and you don't have to worry about like that's actually read and not read. That's actually, just like, that's though, and this is dough, but this is through, and this is, like different little language things that, silly English, Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, English is kind of a pain for me. My wife loves English. My wife knows 3 languages. She speaks English is her primary language, but she grew up. Her parents are from Nicaragua, so she speaks Spanish. And then she learned French in high school and lived in Switzerland for a couple of years. And so she speaks French. She's super talented. She's so good like that. So I've been trying to learn French to be able to, impress her and things like that. And it works sometimes. And it's kind of fun having a secret language that the kids don't understand, because they're starting to pick up on Spanish, because Grandma and Grandpa speak Spanish, and so my daughter especially, she's starting to understand and be able to communicate a little bit in Spanish, which is great because I've been trying to teach her forever. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing, But yeah, language is important. I really like language. It's really cool. Really, really cool. In fact, my brother lived for a couple of years down in Ghana, and he learned Twi. Does she speak parcel tongue? She wishes she spoke parcel tongue. She's like, it was funny because like my son was like, Dad, can you speak parcel tongue? That's so cool. And I was like, and he's like, what does that mean? I said, no. It's like, I was like, what do you tell a kid? No, what speaks partial tongue? It's not real. You know what? Something that could be cool. I don't think these pieces have UVs. And so one of the things that could be cool, and I'll need to experiment with this. I don't have a ton of time on the left on the stream. I'll have to experiment with this, but I want to see if nanomesh, if I can do nanomesh and have UVs, so like all my different little pieces will have. Yeah, but if I do it like that, I would have to have more than just 4 pieces. I don't know. My brain's kind of working. It was a good idea, but I don't think it'll work quite. Here's the thing. If it does work, then that gives you an option to be able to get quick textures onto your basket. But then the hard thing becomes if you do add UVs, you have essentially 4 UV tiles or 4 UV patches, 4 UV islands that all the different little pieces fit under. And with that being the case, then you have a little bit of an issue in getting texture. Like for instance, if I wanted this basket to have like a gradient going down, or have like a patch or a stain right here, any kind of stain that I put right here, it's going to go and kind of reflect across all the different little pieces, and so it's going to be, you know, different. Oh, fish scales are a pain in the neck. Okay, so for instance, I don't know. It's going to be different depending on who's doing it. Rhizome UV can transfer UVs between similar parts. Oh, that's interesting. I have to check that out. So long as the what's that called? The point order is the same. You can do that inside of Maya, but usually, like, if you have a piece like this, where I mean, it's all part of the same subtool. So it's if I were to split this apart, they would have different vertex orders, all sorts of things. Even though they're the same topologically, they would have different vertex orders. So it'd be kind of a tricky thing to play with. Anyway, I forgot what was I going to say? What was I going to say? Shoot. I lost what I was going to say. I'm sorry, guys. I need to stop looking at the chat when I'm trying to talk. It's kind of a funny thing. Oh, the UVs, the UV thing. So the thing that I would do is actually just go through and take the just essentially have a UV tile for every single individual piece on this basket. Now, something that's interesting, you'll notice that, like, if you look on the inside of the basket, this does not look good as an inside of the basket. This is something that's purely for, like, the outside of it. Just to make sure that that's clear. Yeah, I'm just looking for the look, which isn't the smartest thing to do, but it is the thing to, it's just for an idea of getting the look, for getting the feel. Yeah, if I really wanted to, I could figure out a way to make it so that I've got a good looking inside as well. But yeah, this is just for looks rather than for actual function. So because it's going to be there's going to be a tie going down over the top of this on both sides, and the idea is for it to feel like it's being kind of squashed down some by the strap. Um, yeah, it's all about the look rather than the actual the actual function on this particular piece. This is a concept, which is it's kind of sad that you'd spend this much time working on just an idea, but once you get the idea in there, it's so much easier to work out the rest of it. And since this is something that's so highly detailed, it's one of those things that it's worth making sure that it works the way that you want. I think one of the things that I could do that could be worthwhile is to develop a nanomesh shape that better services the inside, because I mean this nanomesh piece doesn't work to be able to service that inside section. Could, however, I'm still trying to keep an eye on the clock because Paul Gabry will be getting on in about a little over an hour. So I don't want to be spending more than the next maybe half hour kind of tweaking and playing. If you guys have requests for something else to work on or have questions, feel free to ask. I am more than open to answering questions. So yeah, questions good. Okay, let's kind of tweak this around so that it's fitting in the holes a little bit better. How do you go about a model which has scales? So yeah, okay. So since this is this is something, like I said, it's something that's different depending on where you're at. So I mean, you could use, and I went ahead and I demoed this earlier, being able to use the polymesh functionality here inside of ZBrush. You have the geometry. You come down to dynamic, and you've got this. You have this micro poly. It used to be called polymesh. They got rid of that and they turned it into this. Is this micro poly thing, and you can come in. You can choose your piece. I'm not going to do it on this because it would go through and change all the different polys into a micro poly. But what I could do, there we go. Let's do it with this one. You turn on micro poly, and then we select something like this. Okay, so now we've got this this piece here. Say align, and it's not really aligning the way I want. Bummer. Yeah, so anyway, you get things like that. If your topology is done in the right way, then great. Otherwise, you get other results. So here's one instance of I forgot about this one. This is more of a, so this is a piece that a scale that I developed to be able to try to do something over the surface of like a dragon or something like that. It looks more like cobblestone, which is kind of fun. But yeah, anyway, you can go through. They have different scales, different things like this, and this doesn't work super amazing. This is like scales on over a surface. It's kind of a tricky thing to play with. Scales are something that I like to do more manually. But yeah, let me see. When it comes to faces, why wouldn't I use subtools for each feature of the face rather than molding it all in one sphere? let me see if I understand your question, John. So your question is like, why would you sculpt an entire face out of just a single piece of geometry, out of a single sphere, single subtool, rather than using a different, for instance, like myself, if I'm blocking in a face, sometimes I like to use different pieces, like a different piece for the nose, a different piece for the eyelids, a different piece for the ears, a different piece for the lips, just to be able to block it in and to be able to get the right shape. Sometimes I'll even do like an upper head, a lower head. And then I'll definitely have different pieces for things like, the mouth bits. So like the gums, the teeth, the tongue, the eyeballs, those are different pieces. But then when everything that's actually attached to the face, it's all a single subtool, but they're separate pieces. And so I'll use Dynamesh. In fact, here, let me show you kind of what it is that I'm talking about with this, because it's a fun principle. It's a fun thing to play around with. Once this finishes. Okay, let me see. Actually, let's go ahead and turn this off because I don't need that to be on there anymore. And then we'll say, yeah, I'll just go ahead and we'll just select the basket piece again. Let's go ahead and we'll say sphere, make polymesh 3D. You know what? Before we do anything else, let's go ahead and save this so that I don't lose it. Okay, is it working? Is it working? Okay, so let's go back to that polysphere. Okay. I'm going to turn on my X symmetry. I'm going to mask out the middle section. Actually, let's do this first. Let's go ahead and just commit it to a Dynamesh. I'll just kind of smooth it out some so that it's a smoother surface. Okay. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to take this, turn on local symmetry, just kind of shrink that in a little bit. Everybody's going to have like their own separate method for doing things like this, but this is just kind of an interesting way to be able to start. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. I'm going to elongate it just a little bit, and then I'm going to control click and drag to kind of bring it down here. I'll shorten it this way. So yeah, if you watch Shane Olson's sculpting sessions on ZBrush Live, or if you're part of his 3D character workshop, he's a great one to learn this sort of thing from. He does a lot of this. And it's a great way to be able to block in your characters. And what I'm going to do, let's actually go back to our brush. Kind of narrow that in. Leave the jaw kind of out to the side here. And then we'll just kind of taper this front side in. Yeah, Shane's a really good friend of mine. He's actually a big help. He was a huge help for me being able to get into Warner Brothers games. Okay, something like that to be able to start off with that section. So right now they're both the same poly group. If we were to look at this, same poly group. So what we want to do is we want to get, we want to get this, make sure that they're different poly groups. So that way we can come over here and we can say groups. And if we were to Dynamesh, ooh, shoot, that was a mess. Okay, that's better. You can see it's got the nice, two pieces. We Dynamesh it. They stay separate because of that groups function. Okay, so really, really super nice. Whoa, how you doing? feel like I haven't seen you for a long time. Let me see. As a very newbie 3D modeler, newbie 3D. Hold on, just a second. Give me just a second. Just a second. Is that Jess I see? Or is it Jan? Can't remember the username for sure actually. So I'm feeling kind of embarrassed. Because it has been a while since I've seen your username pop up. As a 3D modeler, what do you recommend learning first if you want to get into 3D? There's much to learn. It feels very overwhelming to start. Yeah, it's definitely overwhelming. It's overwhelming even as you get further along and as you feel like you start to get a mastery of certain things. So like for instance, good to see you, Dodruku. For instance, I mean, with each project, there's going to be something different to learn, something different to. Let's change to a different selection brush here. And there's always going to be something that's going to kind of be intimidating and new, and I think it's best that way, you know. So yeah, I mean, if you ever get to a point where you feel like you're kind of stagnant and you're sitting still and it's not, you know, you feel like you're not growing, and you know that's a point where you gotta figure out, okay, where is it that I want to go, what is it that I want to learn, and once you figure that out, then you can go ahead and you know, you can start to make a little bit more progress, you know, with yourself. So the things that I look for when I'm helping students who are learning and who are just starting is to think about form, think about volume and shape, and those sorts of things are the most important when you are thinking about when you're thinking about character design, when you're thinking about 3D modeling, because it's all about the form. So yeah, that's my big like start here point. Okay. So right here we've got several pieces going into this so far. Right now I want to add in I'll just keep adding in pieces like this, and then what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll extend it, okay, and then actually let's go ahead and say accept. We'll kind of shrink it one direction. Actually what we could do is we could say flatten, and then we'll say symmetrical, so that way it flattens the same way on both sides. Accept, grow it out, make sure symmetry is turned back on, and then let's go through one of the things that we got to check and make sure. So you see, like, it's two different polygroups. We got to make sure that's one single polygroup, and we got to make sure that we have uncreased everything, you know, so that way we don't have to worry about things kind of merging together or creating an extra piece that we don't really want. Okay, so we're gonna grab this. We can kind of take this down. We can kind of create a little bit of a peak in the nose. Okay, it still isn't quite there yet. What we need to do is we need to add another couple of pieces here for the nose. We're going to add in, let's go ahead and boom, something like that. And then we'll add in another piece too, but like a center piece. Pardon me. So yeah, like really quickly and easily you're able to go in and block in a character's face. And this is a great way to be able to block in a character. I use this quite a bit, especially when I'm exploring something, when I'm trying to figure something out. This is a fantastic way, because then I can just use my move topological and I can affect just a single shape. I can take, let's see, let's grab these nostrils and pull them up, maybe refine those shapes a little bit. This shape probably actually doesn't need to come up that far. But this shape maybe could come up a little bit further. It all kind of depends on what it is that you're trying to do, and you can do so much with this. And what's nice about this is that now I have these little elements in here, and it's like right now I've got a really sharp kind of crooked nose. But if I wanted something that's more of like a cute little nose, I could come in here and I can kind of change these shapes. And kind of take this little piece here. I can take these side pieces here, push this up, and then it's all just a matter of kind of fitting it to wherever you feel like the shape needs to be. Same thing with like the so get like more of a plump nose rather than a get just a very different nose shape really quickly, right? And then for the lips, I mean, you can easily come down over here and say, you've got like a piece here, and then you can come in and you could say flatten. Flatten. Okay, there we go. And so you got this shape. We'll say accept. Just kind of rotate it, pull it into place. And then we just use make sure symmetry's turned back on, because it'll turn it off, just to make you aware. Come on. So I like to take this particular part of the face and actually make that into that full section, that top lip and up to the nose. I feel like that's important. I'm going to go ahead and grab this yellow piece here. We can actually pull this back some. And then we could probably pull this part back, because this is where the cheek would actually kind of go to. Cheeks are kind of interesting, and I think a lot of people don't really pay as much attention to cheeks as they probably should. But the structure of a cheek, it's not as round and cuddly as a lot of people typically make them. And it depends on the kind of character that you're making. Sometimes it works well to have the round cuddly cheeks. But typically what happens is that, there's a little bit of like a bone support kind of coming underneath the eye. And then really, like, if you look at where the eye is, the cheek kind of just drops right down. So it's really kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and grab this. The wrong brush selected. This character's feeling kind of brutish. I kind of like it. I'm going to do something. Let's go ahead. Let's add in a crease. So I'm going to crease edge loop partial here and here, okay, which is going to give me, it's going to allow me to keep that lip shape, because I'm really quite liking the way that lip is actually looking. So I'm going to keep this. In fact, I might even thicken it up a little bit just to be able to kind of emphasize that shape some. and to give it a little bit more design appeal. With design, when you're trying to get appeal out of a shape, if everything's one uniform shape or one uniform thickness, it's not going to be as appealing. And so what I like to do is I like to vary up my thickness. So it's going to get quite thin over here to the end. It's going to get a little thin here in the middle, but then it's got this like swell right here for the lip. Okay, so we're going to do something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and, oops. You know what? Let's go ahead and split it off for right now. Let's say split unmasked point. We'll say Control D, Control D. And then we'll just go ahead and we'll play with this shape a little bit. We can kind of play with the alignment here. It's always good to check these things from different angles. It's insanely important. Because if you don't, then you run into the issue of not having the right volumes. Let's go ahead and just take this. I'm just going to copy that same lip. Make sure that gizmo is kind of reset. And then we can just, you see that? Instant lips. Oops, I don't want that. Okay, so we can do something like this. We can vary up the, like I don't want the lips to be the same thickness. So I'm thinking maybe I'll take them, let's make it so that the bottom lip is maybe the thin one. On me, like my lip, my bottom lip is the thick one, and then my top lip is kind of diminished. But for this character, I want him to feel like a 40s mobster sort of character. Okay, so if we're going to do something like this, I'm going to say Control M. I'm just going to say OK, Control M, OK. Well, in Control M, just to make sure that you're aware, Control M is my custom shortcut for merge down. It's just kind of how that goes. Yeah, I like to do things like that. And then in order for him to feel more mobster-like, I do want to make sure that I want to think about the shape of his head overall. Okay. We can go ahead, we can get rid of the crease. Actually, I feel like I kind of want to keep the lips separate for right now. Let's keep the lips separate for now. Let's say split hidden. I'm going to say Control Shift D. Hide this. We're going to rename this head. We're going to title this lips. Yeah, it did kind of look like a mustache for a while. The name of the character, not quite sure yet. I got to kind of get this character, more to a spot. Sometimes you'll be going along and if you name a character too early, you feel like you get to the end and it's like, yeah, it didn't really look like an Al Capone. It looked more like yeah, So it's just one of those things where it's like you gotta wait sometimes. This particular character, I just know the type of character I want to shoot for, and so that's what I'm going to be playing with, is more shapes that help to lend itself better to that type of character, kind of that 40s mobster. It's like I'm trying to think if I want to take, for instance, if I wanted to, I could make his head feel a little bit more brutish, I'll say. Kind of give him like a stronger jawline, maybe give him a stronger cheekbone. Let's go ahead and hide that so we don't have to worry about that creating any kind of issues for us. Let's give him a stronger cheekbone there. Oh, now he looks like Weekend. Or Weekend? Yeah, Weekend. That's a bit too much. Okay, so I'm going to try something else. Handsome Squidward. Oh boy. It's funny how often Handsome Squidward comes up in my work. Let's see. The brow, I'm going to want to bring this down because that's going to help him feel a little bit more thuggish, a little bit more kind of aggressive, more strong-willed, more dangerous. Okay, something like that. Let's get a neck in here just so we can feel like the character is a little bit more complete. Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of finesse that just a smidge. Oh, not inflate. Sorry, I am in primitives. Okay, so we're going to drag that out. That's a pretty decent thickness. We'll see what it's like when we get the extender going though. Okay, got to make sure that my symmetry is back on. Yeah, that's too much jaw. I thought at first that maybe it would be all right, but then it's like, nah, it's just way too much. In fact, I'm trying to decide if I like the chin being that. No, not Johnny Bravo. Thank you very much. There we go. I'm kind of liking that. So now it's just a matter of kind of smoothing this out, kind of polishing it out a little bit just to make sure that that's got a nice clean shape. Let me see. Robot boy. I'm not even going to look. There isn't a silhouette behind me, because if there was a silhouette behind me, then one, I'd see it in the camera, but then two, this is kind of like a what's the name of that cat experiment? There's a cat in the trunk. It's like, is there a dead cat in the trunk? Well, there is a dead cat in the trunk, maybe, but you won't know until you open it. And if you open it, then that's the moment when there's a dead cat in the trunk. You know, I don't know. It's just kind of a silly Alex. Trying to scare me. Very superstitious. When you believe in things that you don't understand, you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting shape so far. I don't like how far back the head's going. I'm going to make it so that he's more... maybe not quite that much, though. This smooth might not be as strong as I need it to be. Something like that helps to make it so that this is a more natural shaped cranium. I'm trying to decide, yeah, let's kind of narrow this in a little bit. Okay. Trying to scare me. I can't believe you do that. Let's say flatten. We will say, yeah, sure. Since it's already set to do that anyway, let's say accept. And then we'll just go ahead and rotate these so that they are in the right orientation. Let's go ahead and hit local symmetry so that way we can kind of pivot these where they're at. Okay, it's after 10, so I'll only be on for another few minutes. So that way there's time for Paul Gabriel to get set up and things like that, whatever. And then I'll go and eat breakfast. Yeah, that's true. I don't need to sing. Yeah, I ought to not sing, or else the video will get demonetized. You're absolutely right. Schrodinger's cat. Schroeder's cat, right? Isn't that what it's called? Yeah, but yeah, the cat. Yeah, it's kind of a funny. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's just kind of a funny. Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll say split hidden. Then we'll grab the ears and we will take them and we will pull them back. Control W. Grab this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take the deformation. I'm going to say polish. And then pull it back into the ear a little bit. Pull it off over here. And then something really quick and easy. I want to make sure it's not going through the ear on this side. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to say clip curve. And boom. Just like that. And it's symmetrical. So, you know, we're good. All right. So there are a pair of ears. I am going to crease those two edges right here just so that they stay kind of crisp. And then I want to make sure that the crease isn't like too strong, so I'm going to set it down to 1. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll say commit. All right. So there we go. There's kind of like the block in for our mobster head. Let's go ahead. We'll uncrease this. Control W to make sure that that's all one poly group. We'll insert multiple edge loops so that it can be. I love how I go through and make it all one poly group and it makes its own little thing. I need to make sure that next time I do that, I need to go through and a poly. Yeah, I need to make sure that next time I do that, I need to go through. There's a setting in here where you can say keep polygroup. But yeah, I spaced it. Off-based it. Deformation, we'll hit polish. Just hit it a couple times there. And we'll do it one more time. We'll do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and kind of, in fact, let's go ahead and take the geometry. We'll go to the crease. We'll bring that down to 1. Just check and see what that looks like. Apply, delete lower. That looks nicer. Okay, so that's pretty nice. This will work nicely as a block in for a head. Okay. Let me see. Now with the ears don't quite feel like mobster ears. And in fact, this guy's. In fact, I don't know. I mean, he's looking very black. So I don't know that I want to make him a mobster because black mobsters aren't really a thing. I mean, I'm sure there are black people that dress up like mobsters for Halloween or whatever, just for the kicks or whatever. But it wasn't really a thing. It was always like you think about Al Capone. Yeah, the cauliflower ears. Yeah, that could make him feel very. That's true. But one of the things I wanted to do was actually take this outer piece, and we'll just kind of tweak this shape so that he's got more of a boxy ear. Give it a little bit of a curve. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I want him to feel like a mobster, but I don't want him to feel black. I need to fix the nose. I need to fix the lips. I could go through and keep this as like some sort of black character. It could be really fun, but I don't want to go through and make a black mobster especially in light of the way that like everything's been so hectic with just the whole way that everybody's been treated and everybody's been so polarized against each other, and it's a pain. I really hate. I really hate the way that people have been treated. I mean, I live in a community where there is a very heavy Asian population, and fortunately, I haven't witnessed terrible hate crimes against the Asian community here in my area. But to hear about what's happening in other places, it's been really disheartening. It's like seriously, guys, like we're all people. Treat people like people. Yeah, so let's see. Let's grab these. I'm going to make a new folder. Hit 1. And then we'll just take this. We'll say duplicate folder. Where is the duplicate folder? Duplicate. Okay, and then we'll go up here. We'll hide this folder. Collapse it down. And then I'll actually, we should rename this, but if I can find I guess the rename is, no, it should be in there. Rename folder, there we go. Head 2, okay. Here we go. Okay, so to be able to make him feel more mobster-like, I'm going to try to, let's make this more boxy. Let's see. Let me see. Let me think for a second. Let's take, come on you. Let's take these. We're going to really kind of tweak these shapes quite a bit. Let's grab this front nose bit here. And let's actually just give him more of a pointy nose. This will change a lot about how we perceive the character. So let's do this. Narrow it up some. And we'll take this part of the nose and just kind of pull it out some. There we go. That's feeling much more certainly much more Caucasian. So now we can make him like a real bad guy. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Counterpoint, give him the least amount of mobster traits. Be an atypical mobster. So make him like all round shapes and yeah, let's say insert. Let's go ahead and make an eyeball. In fact, we'll take this to the bottom of the list. Oops. Turn off local symmetry because that will throw everything off. Turn on transparency because we'll need that. So one of the things I want to do, let's go ahead and grab our select lasso, Control Shift, click on that edge, be able to hide that loop. That's significantly smaller than I think I want. So so we're going to play with this a little bit. Once autosave can finish. One of the hard things, the reason why it's taking so long to do autosave is because I had so many other projects that I had opened that I hadn't touched. So whatever. We'll figure it out. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll say invert this, Control Shift X. That might be good for now. We'll take that and play with it. Okay, so for right here, let's go ahead and say I am in primitives. Okay, good. Symmetry is still on, which is awesome. I want to take this and I want to essentially make white people, especially like I don't know, I have this, a lot of people have this, where we have like this droopy bit of skin coming from our eyebrows, and so to make him like this mobster guy, this older droopy mobster guy, I'm gonna kind of take him, give him that little bit of skin hanging off of his brow onto like over his eyelid, and that'll help us to also push the mood and push the idea of his attitude and things like that. Got to get this eye, maybe like mirror and weld that so that it's, let's see, it's not going through the middle, right? Yeah, perfect. Okay, mirror, modify topology, mirror and weld. So now we can go ahead and have those eyes in place as placeholders. It's helpful. Heavy lidded. This boy is lid. Yeah, there's a lot left to do on this guy. I'm gonna leave him about right here though. I don't want that upper eyelid to be puffy. I want it to be kind of thin. Let's come over here. Let's kind of add another level of resolution just so that it's a little bit smoother. That'll be kind of our block in for the eyelids, for the upper eyelid anyway. The lower eyelid will have like more of a bag to it. In fact, what we could do is we can take this and we'll say, you know, control click and drag, and then we'll say mirror in the Y direction. Then we'll just kind of drag this down. Just a very simple way to be able to add a lower eyelid. And it's also kind of blocking in that idea of an eye bag too, which is a really pretty heavy eye bag. So it's something that we'll play around with and we'll try to figure out. But yeah, the dude's starting to look like he's seen some stuff. I don't know, maybe we'll push it in for now. Go ahead and kind of emphasize this the sharpness of this nose a little bit more, just so that he feels a little bit more dangerous. Okay, and those eyes are pretty big. We'd probably go through and like shrink them down or something like that, but yeah, I mean, so far so good. These eyelids though, I do want them to be different colors so that way we can go through and commit. Let's go through here and we'll just kind of add like an extra little bit of ridge kind of going along the bridge of the nose here. Some ridge to the bridge. And that's where we'll leave it for right now. Maybe not. Let's turn on local symmetry. Ooh, there we go. That he feels like downright evil now. Oh my goodness. Oh, such a simple little thing, and that totally did. Yeah, eyes do a ton for how a character feels. Or how we connect with a character, you know, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, or if it's, you know, a specific gender or race, or a specific person, you know, like if we were to think about what's her bucket from oh, I can't even think of what that movie's called. She's a famous actress she's from Gattaca. She wasn't from Gattaca. She was on Gattaca. I forget. Oh well. It's not super important. Yeah, and then all these the shapes for the eyes and everything is something that we could go through. Thurman. Emma Thurman? Uma Thurman. Yeah. There you go. There we go. Okay, this guy's starting to feel evil. He's starting to feel like a mobster guy. So that's where we'll leave him. I'm gonna go ahead and let's save this. We'll put them in characters for fun. We'll make a new folder for mobster dude. Mobster dude 01, not 021, 01. All right. time for a Roman nose. Certainly more of a Roman nose than and maybe it's something that we'll go through and play with. But yes, Polybevel, I am working with Dynamesh. At this time with this sort of project, I do like to kind of play around with Dynamesh, and this is to be able to showcase some of the workflows for using. In fact, this cheekbone's kind of going up super high, and it's not really making sense with the rest of the head back here. So yeah, the way that these little pieces back here line up is important. But yeah, anyway, yeah, it's all about fun. It's all about finding the shapes, finding the forms, figuring out what it is that you want to say. In fact, you could even have a different version where you go through and you kind of play with the height of the lips or something. I don't know. It's one of those things you got to play with. But yeah, super fun. If you wanted to be able to see that whole little process right there, it's not a super long process. It's been maybe half an hour, something like that. So yeah, really fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, thanks for coming and hanging out with me today, guys. If you want to be able to see any of my links, to be able to see my social medias, Instagram, things like that, I'll have a video rolling. In fact, maybe I'll start the video rolling while I'm talking. Yeah, so if you want to be able to find me some more on ZBrush Live, you got links like that right there. You can just scan it with your phone. We've got other things like my website. You can check it out there. And then I also have other things like I'll have my Instagram. I'll have my 3D modeling course. This one's for hard surface modeling. People seem to like the Hogbot or the oh shoot, what did we say earlier? Cyborg. There's my 3D character modeling course. Lots of fun stuff. So yeah, if you like what I do, follow me on Instagram there. You'll be able to see updates and things like that. Yeah, I really enjoy what I do. Come have fun with me. Have fun and ZBrush it up. Yeah, we'll have to see you next time. Thanks for coming and stay safe. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time I see you. Peace out.